All right, everybody, welcome back. Hey, we made it. Today we're going to take a look at the Ibanez catalog. We're going to continue this series of the Let's Talk. We've gone through quite a few brands now, and this one has been on the list for a little while. So I got to say, I've been preparing quite a bit for this one. I knew it was going to be quite a large task because Ibanez has quite a selection of guitars. Now, again, if you are new to this or new to this series, what we do is we look at the brands from the least expensive all the way up to about $500. So we're staying sort of in the first-time guitar, affordable guitar range, what we would consider here on this channel within the affordability of a first or second, third time guitar, or maybe you're just interested in the next affordable guitar, kind of looking for the next good deal. So in this episode, we're going to look at Ibanez, and we're getting ready to pop on the website here. Before I do, Ibanez, just a real quick backstory, Japanese brand. Ibanez has a pretty big history, and they're known for a couple of things. It's sort of strange. They're known for either super shreddy guitars and guitar players like, Paul Gilbert or someone recent like Nita Strauss. But then they also have this big hollow body and semi-hollow following with guys like John Scofield, Pat Metheny, George Benson on the hollow body side. So it's an interesting back and forth between super shreddy and super jazzy cats. You can see my Ibanez semi-hollow over there, and we'll talk about it just to show a couple of the features in person here. Without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and bump us right over to the website. Now, again, I'm going to use Sweetwater.com. I'm not affiliated with Sweetwater. I'm not shilling for anybody. No one's giving me any money to do this. This is just mostly a function of trying to help the students here at Sapulpa Guitar Academy, and for anybody on YouTube who happens to find this video. First of all, welcome, like and subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. So, okay, let's stop yakking and get to the guitar shopping, right? So when we look over here, obviously the first thing that pops up from the most affordable is going to come from the Ibanez Mikro series, or if you're from Oklahoma, you call it the Mikro. So what is interesting about this guitar, let me see if I can pull up a big picture there, get you a big full size. So what you notice about this guitar, obviously, two things: smaller body, smaller neck, which is exactly what this is. This is a mini guitar for a smaller player, younger player, and they also advertise this as a good travel guitar. Normally, I sort of balk at that suggestion that a grown adult is going to want a smaller guitar, but I just saw a video, and I'll try to link it below. Chris, remember to link it in the description down there, of Paul Gilbert in his signature series guitar, which we're going to show a little later. They're very similar in specs. So the cool thing that Paul Gilbert was showing in his video with these micros is that you can make some pretty big stretches. If you're like me and you got some big monster hands, try to get those in frame here. I think he does too. He's a pretty big guy himself. You can make some pretty interesting stretches. It probably opens you up to some really interesting scales and solo ideas. So kind of a cool idea here. Again, the price on this is $169. You get 24 frets, which I had mentioned. You get a fixed bridge. It's not a tremolo or anything like that. You get one volume, one tone. You get the Infinity R pickups. Almost all of the pickups we're going to talk about today are ceramic. There is maybe one guitar that we're going to discuss that is going to have one Alnico pickup, but everything else is ceramic, by the way. Again, nothing wrong with that, but that is what's going to be featured. I don't know the full story, but from what I understand, DiMarzio makes these pickups in some way. I don't think any of these are made domestically. I think these are all made overseas. But from what I understand, these have some sort of Larry DiMarzio or DiMarzio Company association with them. So you can see here. Let me see what else we got to talk about. It's a basswood body, so it's a lighter body, obviously, for younger players, or if it's a travel guitar, you want to make this one pretty lightweight. Comes in a variety of colors. You can kind of see just a couple here. There's a jewel blue. There's a black. Pretty cool. Get the shark inlays, get the 24 frets, $169. So just to show you, this is the Paul Gilbert model. This is the PGMM11. We really haven't gone over model numbers. So on the other micro, it was a GRGM, and the numbers, I believe, in this case represent the color of the guitar. Correct me if I'm wrong down below in the comments, at least on this model. So with the Paul Gilbert signature, it looks like you get a reverse headstock. You get these painted on things on the sides. That's sort of his signature deal. You get some painted pickups on this model. They'll have sort of a matching or some sort of two-tone thing going on here. It is more expensive, so you do pay $249. Yeah, $249 for these instead of $169, which seems like a lot extra to pay for a signature model. But there you have it. If you're a big Paul Gilbert fan, you can get a signature model for under $300. Something else to bring up, this just has a volume knob. It doesn't have a volume or tone. It has a volume. Does it have a 5-way? It has a 3-way blade, and it has one master volume. That's kind of interesting. I didn't know that. So when you look at so back to the other micros here, you notice there's a volume and a tone, and I believe a 5-way switch. Yeah, a 5-way switch. So it's a little strange. You get a different paint job with the Paul Gilbert model. You get a reverse headstock, but you only get a volume. You don't get a tone, and you get a 3-way. So that's interesting. There's somewhat less features and just a different paint job on the Paul Gilbert model. So just be mindful of that if you're looking at the micros. I mean, again, if you want the Paul Gilbert model, I doubt that the specs are what's drawing you in. It's probably just more that it's a, artist series model. So something else before I let go, I'll have to edit this back in on the micro. You also get the almost 16-inch flatter fretboard radius on these micros. So just keep that in mind. 24 frets, the traditional flatter radius that comes with the Ibanez. So it's a neat feature as well, because as we get into the first wave of the Gio series, that is not the case. The first couple, I do believe, have a 12-inch radius, but we'll go into that a little later. So the next one I want to look at is the Ibanez Gio, the GRX20Z. This is the most inexpensive full-sized Ibanez Electric here. And what makes this, what are the specs kind of going on this guitar? As you can see, it's going to have the T106 bridge, T for tremolo. I'm going to assume every time you see a hardtail with Ibanez, it starts with the F, and every time you see a floating tremolo of some kind, it's going to start with a T. So you get the tremolo, you get the one volume, you get one tone on those. It's got 22 frets, not 24 frets. It's a basswood body. And everything else, I think you got a 5-way switch. You do get a 5-way switch, and you get the Infinity R ceramic humbuckers, just like you do on the Micro. Obviously, it's a full-size guitar. You also don't get the shark fins. You don't get those inlays, if that matters to you, but it's also $179. From a pickup perspective, just to kind of get that out of the way, I have played both the Infinity R, I have played the Quantum. I think I've played most of the pickups that are on this list. And honestly, there's some differences here. So the Infinity R and the Quantum, I will say, there's some subtle differences. Those are more gain, like high gain output pickups, more for metal. You're also going to see some classic Elite humbuckers. Again, all of this stuff is ceramic, but the classic Elite is a little lower output, hence the name, the Classic Elite. They're a way to sort of get you a more vintage style tone. While, I think becoming output-wise a little over 10K on the Classic Elites, whereas the Quantums and the Infinities are like in the 14 to 16 range, like really, really hot humbucker range. So unlike the Jackson video we did, and somewhat unlike the Kramer video we did, you're going to see a lot more variety in pickups. So let's just say that. And yeah, really cool guitar. $179. Trying to make an affordable beast here. Cool. Okay, let's take a look at the next model here. This is the Ibanez Gio GRX70QA. So for $199, we're now moving from $179 to $199. This is sort of the budget RX series, so that's why you see GRX. So we had the GRX20, the GRX70, so we're in the RX series of Ibanez. again, I'd highly suggest checking out the Ibanez website for more information and trying to do your own research. I'm going to link below. There's a great Ibanez Wiki page that really helps, and they helped me tremendously in doing research for this video, figuring out neck thicknesses and trying to understand, because sometimes I would play a lot of these necks and I'm like, I don't feel much of a difference, and I would use that place to really help me understand quite what they did that's somewhat different than the other. For example, a lot of these Gios are going to have GRG necks, GRX necks, GRGR necks, and they all kind of felt the same to me when I've played them, but there are some subtle differences there. So on this one, like I said, on this GRX70QA, Q is going to be for, I'm assuming, this quilted art maple grain top thing. Again, this is a printout. We talked about this on the Jackson Epiphone? I don't know. These are either veneers or printouts, and I think these are all maple art grain. When you see maple art grain, okay, so here you go, quilted maple art grain. It's a printout. I mean, it's a nice printout. They look cool in person. I mean, they look like a veneer, but they look like a nice veneer. I wouldn't necessarily know the difference between a nice veneer and a printout. Whereas a solid top, you can usually find a difference. I would say these look like a nice veneer. What else are you getting? Well, you're getting a 12-inch radius fretboard, just like you did with the GRX20Z. You get 22 frets. You are getting dots. So you're paying $20 and you're getting a nice top, and you're getting these nice little metal knobs. Oh, you know, how about that? And as far as pickups go, you get the Infinity R and the Infinity RS single coil. I don't believe... Oh, you get the Fat 6 tremolo bridge, which is the only time I see that bridge. The Fat 6, the T106. Man, yeah, a lot of parts. Neck shape is the GRX neck shape. Again, I'll send you a link down below to a great wiki site. I've played all these necks, the GRX and the GRGs and the GRGRs. They felt kind of similar. The carves are slightly different. All the necks on these are going to be fairly slim. You know, they're not going to be 50 style Les Pauls by any stretch of the imagination. I would say they're all pretty non-offensive if you're a neck nerd. Like, it doesn't have any sort of extreme contours to it. When you get into the Wizard 3, that's when you're going to find some people are not so interested in those necks. They are very much a love them or a hate them style, but we are far from that right now. So again, 12-inch radius fretboard, sealed tuners. I will say, you know, as much as I crapped on the Kramer tuners, I have never had an issue with the Ibanez Gio line tuners. When I've seen them come in, I've never replaced them. Like, I've never had a student who had it, and I've seen quite a few Ibanez come through here. I've never seen one where I thought the tuners were just atrocious, and sometimes we get some really old Ibanez, like made in Korea Ibanez from the 90s, made in China Ibanez, made in Indonesia. Just don't seem to have a problem with these tuners for whatever reason. You know, maybe just luck of the draw, because they're nothing that special. There's certainly some sort of unbranded tuner. So there you go. That is the GRX70QA. Okay, moving on now. We're going to take a look here. This is the Ibanez Gio GRG121DX. So we're seeing an Akume body. I'm not sure what brand of wood. I don't know. It's just a different wood. And we've got like a walnut stain on it because it's supposed to look like it's walnut. We do get a bound fretboard. We get the shark fin inlays. And I do believe this is, so we're getting 22 frets. This is probably the first of the guitars where we're going to see a 16, the sort of infamous 15 3/4 inch radius fretboard on a full-size guitar. This model does come in different colors. I'm just showing you the walnut finish, but it comes in a metallic gray sunburst. The price range on this one can kind of vary as a result. So it goes from like $229 to $239. There's the metallic gray sunburst, for example. They've got these pickup covers on here to kind of give people the illusion that you've got some sort of EMG or active pickups, but no, make no mistake, these are passive pickups. These are the IBZ 6 pickups. Again, I played these, some sort of DiMarzio made high output ceramic pickup. I didn't really hear a humongous difference when I'm hearing the Quantum, the IBZ6, or the Infinity Rs. If you have a different opinion, please say so down below and kind of let me know, because this is something that when I was playing them, you know, either I'll have a student guitar or I'll be at Guitar Center kind of doing research for this and just kind of hearing them. if you're a new student, I wouldn't let the choice of pickups like overwhelm you, like which one is the best, because it's really not a big concern. You know, it's your first time playing guitar. It's probably not going to sound good no matter what kind of pickups you've got in there, and that's mostly just because you're a new player. But it's a cool look, don't get me wrong, but it is just a look, one that's associated with active pickups, and to give it kind of a nicer look. It's a hardtail, as you can see here. Great option for a beginner. When you are looking at $229 as a price point, $239, really nice look. Again, bound fretboard, shark fin inlays. This is the first time you get the flatter fretboard. It's going to be the GRG neck. Again, they're fine. They're, you know, not too thin, not too, they're just like a medium shape C. I don't know if I'd call them a C, but I don't know. They just, like I said, I've got big hands too. I'm just not a big neck nerd. I don't really get too offended by necks. Okay, just a slight upgrade here. We're going to look at the Ibanez GRG130DX. Kind of a cool black and red kind of look here. We get a pick guard, 2 humbuckers. Otherwise, what are we looking at? We got 24 frets. We got a poplar body. That's a little different than the 121 with the Akume body, so it's a little bit lighter maybe. Of course, you get the red shark fin inlays. You get this fixed bridge, so you get the Infinity R pickups, and you do get like a body binding. I think this is the first time. Let me get a picture of that. You do get this cool body binding, but that's what you're paying for. Satin finish, body binding. These are cool. I've seen them in stock. If this is like a first guitar for you and you really like sort of heavy music, you know, this might be your style. So, you know, when you're a teenager, this is the time to buy these crazy guitars. It's a little tough to be like my age and go rocking into a club with this unless you're doing some heavy stuff. If you're playing in a cover band, you're playing Shake Your Booty with this thing. It's just a weird look, but like I said, for the younger players, they're going to love it. So there you go. It's $249 on this one, and it's got the GRG neck. Our first addition into the 7-string series, we have the Ibanez Gio GRG7221M for maple fretboard or metallic light blue. I don't know. This comes in at $269. Now, on a lot of these Sweetwater listings, you'll see back ordered, more in stock. I checked the Ibanez website, and everything that I'm going over still shows as a current model. We are even looking at some new models as well that are just like, I don't even think they've arrived at Sweetwater, but we'll talk about them anyway and just speculate on how good they are. So this is sort of their entry level into the 7-string market, as you can or cannot tell maybe. 7 strings right there. It is $269. Now, I think Jackson's got them beat. If I recall, they had one coming in at $199. So this is a little pricier. So with this one, you're going to get, let's get a picture of the full size. Not a whole lot of product picture here. You're going to get 24 frets. You are going to get dots instead of shark fins. You are going to get a 16 or this 15 3/4 inch radius, a fixed bridge, and infinity pickups. I do believe this might come in other finishes, and we're just not seeing it. Again, I wouldn't recommend these for first-time guitar players, and you know all that, my spiel about that. But so, like I said, they come in different colors. Here is one. It's $279. It comes in a transparent blue burst, but again, same 7-string, same specs otherwise, so you can get it with some cooler finishes. Oh, and this one has some sort of rosewood, Jatoba fretboard, whatever rosewood substitute thing going on. Okay, so let's take a look here, getting into some nicer looking guitars from an aesthetic viewpoint here. We're keeping on with the ceramics covered in a plastic cover here. This is the Ibanez Gio. This is the GRGR221PA. P for poplar art grain, meaning it's a print-on that was probably printed on a poplar cap. So Akume body, poplar top, and on that poplar top, they printed an art grain and stuck it to that poplar. Again, these are lighter woods. Ibanez, you'll notice, they make really light guitars. And that's if you got shoulder issues or back issues, I think it's a great thing. They're fast, shreddy guitars in this sort of area anyway. When you get the semi-hollows and hollows is not so much the case, but definitely when you get into the shred masters here, they're definitely keeping a little closer eye on the weight of these guitars. And obviously the lighter woods are a little bit more cost effective too. Poplar and things like that. Moranti. I never know how to pronounce it. You start to see some cool things, like you can see the back side. It's got a 2-tone back. If you look closely enough, we can see 1, 2, 3, a couple pieces of wood in there. Obviously, it's a multi-piece build. You're at a guitar under $300, so I don't fault them for that. But you know, you can see your scarf joint right there. I don't know why I had to zoom in on it again. Of course, the part where I want to see it is right there. So as you can tell here, it's a hardtail. You do get ceramic pickups on this one as well. It's going to have the IBZ6 pickups. So it's the first time I think we're going to, we saw them on the 121s too. So we're starting to see the IBZ6 pickups on this one. Like I said, it's a hardtail, so that's probably keeping it under that $300 price range. But you do get some cool binding. You get the two-sided top. You get binding on the neck. You get your flatter radius. You get your 24 frets. And you get a matching headstock. That's honestly really cool. So, cool looking guitar. So let's go ahead and move on now to the Ibanez Gio GRG121QA SP. Okay, kind of a cool top here. Again, we're looking at a maple art grain top, printed grain top on a poplar body with a Purple Heart fingerboard. You get the T102 vibrato arm, and you get the volume and tone, kind of nice. You get a little binding on the side, kind of a nice gloss finish, which is really cool. And you get the Infinity R pickups. So it's an interesting thing. You get a nicer looking body, but from a pickup perspective, it seems as though you were getting the lower end pickups. I mean, this is what they put in at the very inexpensive guitars, and now they're putting them back into this one. Maybe they're not the lower grade. Maybe they just throw these in intermittently, or maybe they have reasons for that. They give you massive tonal range according to this. Vibrant yet snarling with an enhanced mid-range output when you push it. If you're after maximum tonal tenacity, the GRG121QA SP will give your amplifier or modeler everything you need. That's great. I love it. That's such great head copy. That's such BS. Oh, moving on. Again, these pickups are fine, but let's not oversell them, okay? So if you're on YouTube at all, you may have seen this guitar on a few other channels, and there's good reason for that. This is the Ibanez Gio GRG121SP. So what we've got here is our first appearance on a couple of things. First of all, love the paint job on this one. Really love the covered pickups. Really love the matching headstock. Just a really sharp looking guitar, and just under $300. I haven't really mentioned the price on the last couple models, I don't think, but we're still just under $300. This also comes in Black Knight, which is a really cool color as well. If you zoom in on it, oh, maybe it is just black. I kept thinking there was some sort of starry finish on it. Yeah, there is a little bit of a sparkle on that one. So you can already tell this has got a baked maple, caramelized maple, roasted maple fretboard. Again, a really cool option on a sub $300 guitar. When we talked about the Jackson version of this, Jackson has a similar one. I think it comes in at just like $350. But again, a similar deal here where you've got a roasted maple fretboard. You've got two covered humbuckers. Now, these are the classic Elite humbuckers. So like I said, the classic Elites, I would say, are a little bit different. And if anything, it's because they are lower output. So you're going to get a little less push, but they also brighten up. You know, the tendency I find is that when pickups get really high in the output, they can get really dark really quick. And yet when they got a little less output, they can kind of brighten up. So they call these sort of their vintage sounding. Like I said, this is all ceramics. It really helps, I find, to get these. And I like them. Of all the pickups that we're going to talk about today, these are probably my favorites. You will find these on this model and in some of the nicer hollows and semi-hollow bodies that we'll discuss later as well. But again, baked maple fretboard. So ideally, you know, you're not going to deal with as much fret sprout. It's not a guarantee you're not going to get it. This is also a hardtail as well. So you're going to look at some increased tuning stability. Just a really sharp looking guitar. And you'll see the ads or the reviews for it too seem to agree. So a really cool one. I mean, this is one of the ones I would probably recommend if you got a little extra cash to spend on a first guitar even. Because again, it's a hardtail. It's a one volume, one tone. It's got a 5-way switch. You get the baked maple neck, so you get a little nicer neck. It's a guitar that you could gig with probably. I should mention it too. I think you can find it on here. So this is probably one of the first appearances. So they have these truss rod covers. If you're unfamiliar with the Ibanez truss rod covers. They don't come on all of them, but they have this little, so those are all screwed in. Like you've got the traditional truss rod screws. You can kind of see where I'm pointing out. But this little plastic piece, you can push it away. It's a little, I don't know if it's spring loaded, I can't remember, but you can actually just take a piece of the plastic and it moves away on a little pivot point. And you can do your truss rod adjustments without removing the truss rod cover, which Ibanez is not only genius for doing this, but everyone should be doing the same thing. Like there's no excuse. If you're going to put a truss rod cover on the top of your guitar, they should be this. So Ibanez wins this. There's one other thing we'll talk about features-wise where Ibanez, I love that they do this, but this is one of my favorites. And I think this is where they start doing it. They may do it on a little cheaper model, but as far as I know, this is where I start seeing it myself. Again, really cool. This is the GRG121SP 299. Really like this one. Okay, so we're going to talk now about the Ibanez AZES series. So we're going to talk about the AZES31, which is a single pickup. And there's also the AZES40, which is a humbucker single. So the 3-single version is $299, but the humbucker single is $349. There's the humbucker version. Again, I believe that's referred to as the AZES40 for the humbucker single. Everything else about these guitars is similar between the two, except for the humbucker. So that's where the price difference is coming along. It's a hardtail, which I respect. For a Stratocaster, they're not going to put you into a tremolo. They're not going to worry about the tuning stability from that perspective. It does have a smaller body. I'm going to try and get this. I don't know if it really shows, but if you could put this next to, say, a Classic Vibe Squire or just a traditional Stratocaster, it's a smaller body, even though it's not necessarily a junior body. It's just the way that Ibanez makes these, so keep that in mind. I will also say when I've played these compared to a Classic Vibe, I didn't like these as much. I don't know if it's because these are ceramic single coils, ceramic humbucker singles. I just found that the Alnico pickups and a Classic Vibe at a very similar price. Now this has $299, but when I went to Guitar Center, you could find Classic Vibes at like $349, so they were $50 higher, even though Classic Vibes sort of list at $429. But again, these aren't bad guitars. It's just there are other options out there. Compared to an Affinity, though, at $269, I think this really does do a better job as a guitar than a Squire Affinity. One of the things that puzzles me about the AZES31 or just this series, and I'll show you kind of down here. I'll read the ad copy. Oh, here we go. So we're talking about, so this does have a traditional 5-way switch. Now, when you get into Stratocasters, normally they're going to have 2-tone and a volume. This one just has a single tone, single volume, but it does also have this little mini switch here in the middle. And what this is essentially a parallel and series switch. So you can put the pickups into parallel and series and play with the extra tonal options here. So my big complaint is it feels like a weird feature to put on a guitar that's made for a beginner. When I was a beginner, I didn't mess with the pickups on my guitar because I really didn't understand what they did. I didn't necessarily like all the other pickup selection options. I just wanted to play in the bridge position with the volume all the way up all the time. So I don't know if this is really going to be an option or a feature that new beginning players are going to appreciate. I think if you're on a budget, I think if you're interested in Ibanez from a Strat line and you don't want to start off with a Prestige or Premium or even a Standard, this is a cool place to start to kind of get an idea as to what you like. But I don't really understand this feature and why it was needed on this guitar. I think players would have maybe preferred nicer pickups or maybe just a nicer tremolo system or anything, I would think. Maybe a baked maple fretboard. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. The reviews, there's a ton of them on here and they all seem to love these guitars. Calling this a benchmark for entry-level instruments, it's a fine guitar. It's a fine guitar. I think it bats really well with an Affinity. Obviously gives you other features that an Affinity wouldn't, or it's an S-style guitar. Like I said, the humbucker single is $349. This is $299. It's cool, and it's not technically a Gio, so you are getting an Ibanez. You're not getting a Squire. They're not using their student branding on here. They're using their Ibanez brand on here. So I got to respect that as well. Okay, getting back to the Shred Fest, we're going to take a look now at the Ibanez GRG220PA1. This is a really nice looking guitar. You see here we've got a poplar cap with a burl art grain print. So a printed burl top veneer print on a poplar cap, but the body itself is a Kume. I try to keep that all together, right? Oh, by the way, I should say it's $300. So you're really going to get that uptight about the tone woods and the things going on here. And it does have a really nice bound fretboard, 24 frets. Got the shark fin inlays. You get the covered humbuckers, which is usually, as we're going through this is going to be your giveaway that we're going to get classic elite humbuckers. So just anything in the sub 500 category, when you see it covered, classic elite humbuckers. I may be wrong as I go through this. This is also, you get, the tremolo bridge. Again, we'll have the radius at the 15 and 3/4, but a really nice top. It's a cool looking guitar. Again, you're at $300. It's very much in line with what you see on the one with the baked maple fretboard. I believe that was the GRG1 something. I don't remember, but you know what I'm talking about. Again, this one's going to have the tremolo arm instead of a fixed, but it doesn't have the baked maple fretboard neck. So you're swapping one thing out for the other, right? I've never played this one, but I've played those pickups, so I'm sure this is a really cool guitar. So I'm not super big personally into the crazy exotic tops on these, but for those who are, I think this is a really cool option, and it looks really expensive, right? Okay, let's get into something kind of exciting here. We're going to start talking about some semi-hollows here, and we're going to start with the Ibanez Artcore AS53. Now, I'm going to put these together somewhat. There is also an Ibanez AM53. These are exceptionally similar guitars in every way, except for the AS is going to be a little bigger. It's going to have this headstock that the AM's not going to have, and I'll go over both of them. So this is a really cool semi-hollow from Ibanez. Again, a satin finish. That's going to help somewhat on the pricing. You get 3 different color options. You get this sunburst red flat. You get a transparent black flat. You get a bound fretboard with dots. You get the infamous quick change bridge and tailpiece here, or it's the quick change tailpiece and the Gibraltar bridge. You do see a reduced layout. You only get 1 volume, 1 tone with the 3-way selector in the middle. Obviously, that's going to be a cost savings feature there as well. From the spec standpoint, we're looking at Sapele body and top. I'm not sure what that's supposed to be. Knockoff of Maple. I think it's an Atoya neck. It's a set neck. It's a 12-inch radius fretboard, which would make sense for this sort of guitar. All the semi-hollows we're going to talk about here, and I will correct myself if I'm wrong, are going to have a walnut fretboard that we're not seeing at least anywhere else on Ibanez or any other semi-hollow that I know of as well. 22 frets. It's going to also have the Infinity R ceramic humbuckers, which I find those humbuckers, frankly, a little too hot to go into a semi-hollow. But again, this is a cost savings feature that Ibanez is doing. Normally, I would say, hey, you get this, and if you really like it, you can change out the pickups. But boy, changing out pickups or any sort of electronic on a semi-hollow is going to be a pricey venture if you don't know what you're doing, or if you have it taken in. If you know how to change all this stuff, and if you're great with guitars, this could be a really great value. But otherwise, I think, I don't know that you're going to love the sound on these. When I got to play these in Guitar Center, I found them really pretty rough to clean up because these humbuckers are just so hot and just so unmanageable. When people think of semi-hollow guitars, they think of, or hollow bodies, we think of these deep, warm, low-end guitars, even though they're really not. They're really more of a mid-range instrument, like we would think of a Les Paul. Putting ceramic humbuckers in there are just, I don't know, they were woolly, but in the wrong way. It was just really harsh. I couldn't get them. Again, I was in a Guitar Center for like 20 minutes. Maybe if I had a little bit more time, I could come up with something cool looking though. They looked well built though. I really say, as you can tell, I will go ahead and take a real quick pause and just show you based on what I have. So this is my Ibanez Artstar. This is the AS113, which if we do another video on Ibanez, we can kind of go over this one. But I only bring this up to show you, this is the bridge. This is the quick change bridge here. And as you can see, kind of a neat, interesting design. If you watch my string change video, I talk about the advantages of having this and how it's really easy to change strings here. I don't have to pull the tailpiece off. I can just load them in from the top. I will say one of the disadvantages of this quick change tailpiece is I tend to put my hand down here, my palm, and this tailpiece exposes some string, what you call them, like the wound part of the string ends, that a Gibson or another wouldn't, based on the tailpiece and how it's constructed. It has the ball go a little further into the tailpiece here. So it's interesting. I mean, I like them just fine. Don't get me wrong. It's a really cool design, but that's one thing I do notice about these quick change tailpieces. And again, you're going to see these on all of the semi-hollow Ibanez options as we go from here on out, really all the guitars. Again, here's the AM53. Again, just to kind of show you a little different headstock up here. It is a little smaller body as well, but everything else features-wise is the same. But a cool guitar. Okay, so let's start talking about some Ibanez RG series guitars. So we're not fully out of the Gio line yet. This is not a Gio, but there are some other Gios that are coming through, but we are starting to come through the Gio line and into the Ibanez line officially. This is the RG421 in mahogany oil. Now, this one comes in at $349, but the RG421 goes all the way up to $499, $449, something like that. And a lot of it is based on the top. So this one just has a regular top with mahogany oil. It's just a Marante body. So you'll see other ones that have binding, nicer tops, and everything else. But frankly, it's the same guitar. There's even a 7-string version of this as well, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But again, 2 humbuckers, volume tone, fixed bridge, 5-way switch. This is the first time, I believe, we're going to see the Wizard neck. Yeah, this is the first time we see the Wizard 3 neck. My experience with the Wizard 3 neck, which I do have a little bit of, it's not my favorite neck. It wasn't for me. That doesn't mean that it's a bad neck or you shouldn't play it. I would definitely recommend trying one before you buy one online, or if you're going to just get a wild hair like I did and buy one online and then have it shipped. I didn't buy this one. I'll show you the one that I did end up with a couple of years back that kind of didn't do it for me. The neck was just not for me. But, when you look at the specs, and again, I'll link down to this great Ibanez Wiki page that goes over all this, you'll see just from looking at specs-wise, the Ibanez Wizard neck doesn't seem to be that much different. If you just looked at like the thickness from the 1st fret and the thickness from the 12th fret, but when you really look at the carve of these necks, it's a flatter neck with a little bit more shoulder on the edges of them because it's, supposed to be built for speed. Again, it's not for everybody. It wasn't for me ultimately, and like I said, I wouldn't consider myself a neck nerd in the sense that I need a certain type of neck to play, but for whatever reason, I just didn't bond to that Wizard 3 neck. So you can see I'm kind of showing the other models nondescriptly. This is the $399 model, so it's again a new top here. You've got the quilt maple top, or it's a maple veneer with some binding on there, and then you've got this one that's a plain top, but it's got like a 5-ply binding on it, 3-ply binding. So you can see where you're kind of getting different price ranges, but all of them feature the same specs as far as hardware goes, and that is the Marante body. It's going to have the Wizard 3 neck. It's going to have the almost 16-inch fretboard. It's going to have dots instead of the shark fins, and it's going to have a fixed bridge, and it's going to have the quantum humbuckers. This is something Ibanez obviously pitches as a little like the next level in humbucker. I played those before. They were fine. I don't really have any strong thoughts about them, as you can tell. I felt like the IBZ6s and the quantums and the infinities, I didn't really see much of a difference, but I'm not a massive shred player either. So maybe someone who's like an Ibanez diehard can really give me a good tongue lashing about the differences here. So you'll see these RG421s at different price ranges and different materials, but just know that most of these changes are aesthetic, if not all of them. Okay, moving along here, and this is going to be a first for us. This is not a first for us total, but a first for us within the Ibanez line. We are looking at the Ibanez Artcore AF55. This is their first or their most inexpensive hollow body, and also this is the most inexpensive hollow body that you can buy on Sweetwater right now. I'm sure there's some $150 Groat or Firefly version on Amazon, so I can't say it's the cheapest I've ever seen. I'm sure there's a little bit cheaper. A really cool option for someone looking to get into a hollow body. That being said, I will say one of the things, like I've mentioned before, changing pickups and electronics in these hollow bodies and semi-hollows can sometimes be a little bit of a challenge. And if you're looking to get an affordable instrument, the moment you have to change anything on these, it stops becoming somewhat affordable. But otherwise, I really think this is an interesting entry-level hollow body. The one thing that, like I said, that I didn't love about this is you get Infinity R pickups in these, which have got to be the hottest pickups you could possibly put into a hollow body. You get 20 frets. That's a hollow body thing. You get a 12-inch radius fretboard. The reviews on here, as you can tell, were kind of mixed. A lot of people were complaining about the sound of it and the humbuckers being too nasty sounding. Surprise. So I don't know that I would recommend this one because it sounds like you may not love hollow bodies after this. This might be a bad experience for you, but an interesting option. And if you can fix these, you can get these at the right price. Maybe it's worth doing the work and maybe putting something just a little more appropriate for a hollow body. Oh, I should talk about the woods in here. Oh, so it says maple on this. Now I looked on the Ibanez website and they are saying that it's linden with the walnut fretboard. I would trust Ibanez before I would trust Sweetwater. Not that they're lying, but Ibanez is probably going to be a little bit more apt to make sure everything on the specs is right. You do get a mahogany set neck, which is kind of an interesting feature. And it says rosewood fretboard again. It's walnut. In fact, I would doubt it's still a mahogany neck at this point too. But just know that's what's there. And it's a hollow body for $349. Let's take a look at this. Now, like I said, we weren't fully out of the Gio line yet. This is the Ibanez Gio. This is a new model, an Ibanez Gio RG330EX electric guitar. And the big takeaway on this one, you get the shark fins. You get, let's see here, the RG330. You get a GRG neck, so you don't get a wizard neck. You get a Gio type neck, but you do get the locking tremolo. So this is the first sort of Floyd Rose-esque guitar that we get in this Ibanez line, coming in at $369. So trying to find a double locking tremolo option under $400 and a bridge pickup that looks slightly off skew as well. I know I make fun of that too much, but reverse headstock, that's cool. So under $400, it's going to be tough. I mean, unless you need that vibrato, it's going to be tough not to go with a RG421 with the quantum pickups, because this thing also comes with the Infinity R pickups, which again kind of get put in the more inexpensive. I mean, more inexpensive than this even. So again, you get a Floyd-esque model with a reverse headstock. It's cool looking, but I don't know that you're getting a great deal at $369. So it's a little bit of a head scratcher for me. We'll have to see how it sells. Looks like it's coming in. They don't even have them yet, so maybe I'm being a little too premature on this. Here's another option on the RG421. Again, we talked about some of the price ranges. This is coming in at $379. Looks like a solid paint job with binding. You get sort of the two-tone front and back. I'm going to run through these next two, fairly similar, fairly close in shape. These are the S models. So we're looking at the Ibanez first. We're looking at the Ibanez S521. So this is going to be a gloss finish, humbucker, fixed bridge. You're going to get, the first time you're going to get the side inlay dots instead of something in the middle. And we are also going to get the Wizard 3 neck back for this one. We're going to get quantum pickups. Whether you get the humbucker, it's kind of cool. You don't get the painted headstock, or the matching painted headstock, I should say. This comes in Blackberry Sunburst. It's got a 5-way switch, which is really cool. So this is the humbucker. This is the S521 at $399, also at $399. Also at $399, you get the S561 in seafoam green matte. So matte finish on both of these humbucker single versions. Again, same wizard neck, same inlay dots. You do get a different pickup layout, but a one volume, one tone, and you get this input jack up front, which ergonomic. I would prefer it more in the back, like a Charvel, $400. That's a really cool looking guitar. So this is also Meranti, the body. Meranti, a lightweight wood, from what I've played. When I played this type of guitar, and it's just really lightweight. So I don't know if it's a financial decision to use that wood, but I would also say it's lightweight as well. So it's a cool feature. Again, Ibanez, when I think of these shreddy guitars, real lightweight, if that's an issue for you, if weight is a problem. And like I said, on all of these, we're still dealing with ceramic pickups, even at the $400 range, which I'm not saying all ceramics are bad, and I know these are made by DiMarzio overseas. Maybe the single coils are better, but I don't know. They're fine. Okay, we are now living in the world, folks, where we have a $400 Ibanez Gio. Welcome to the new Ibanez Gio RG320FAT. transparent black sunburst. So this is going to be a poplar body. You're going to get this art grain printed top. You're going to get the Floyd-esque, double locking tremolo, and you're going to get some shark fins. You're going to get the bound fretboard, 24 frets. You're going to get, you do not get a wizard neck on this one. You get the GRG neck. So if you don't love the wizard neck and you want something with some more features that looks cooler, this would be a great option. But of course, again, you are still dealing with the Gio. You don't even get a matching painted headstock. I mean, you get painted, but it's not matching. Okay, so this was a little confusing. So it's a poplar body with a basswood top, but on the basswood top is a flame maple art grain, a printed top on the cap. So it's basswood. So it's a poplar body. There's a basswood kind of top, and then there's a print on the top of it. It's so weird. Yeah, infinity humbuckers. Again, it's $400 for this, for a Gio. I don't know. I think that's going to be a tough ask for a lot of folks when you can get an Ibanez at that price, a non-Gio. And I know at a certain point, kids start getting we all get kind of brand conscious about that. It's tough to play a $400 Gio, especially when you got a $400 demo right here and an Ibanez RG standard. I know my here we go, my big noggin's blocking it, but there's a demo of an RG that's a real Ibanez, and it's got a nice, it's probably the same tremolo, to be fair. What happened here? Oh, it's got a little neck, huh? Okay, let's go. Now, this is the model that I ended up buying a couple of years ago. This is the Ibanez RGA42FM, flame, maple, whatever, Jatoba fretboard. This is a fixed bridge, no tremolo on this one volume, one tone. It does come with the quantum pickups. As you can tell, you've got these side inlays going on here too. Meranti, it says mahogany body. I thought it was Meranti. This was really lightweight when I got this. So I got this model particular. I did not pay $429 for it. I think I was able to get it for $349. Now, granted, that was a couple of years ago, and it was a demo, like a B stock option. I will say super light guitar. Again, if this thing was 7 pounds, I'd be surprised. Again, it's a $400 guitar, so you can see the multiple pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's a satin finish, but you get to see the cool binding. And it is a very thin guitar. Very thin guitar. Very thin. It was, again, between the wizard neck and just, it almost was just too light for me. I need almost a little bit more substantial guitar. That's just me, by the way. That's, not telling you what to do. Cool looking guitar, though. But the wizard neck was just a little tough for me to play. You do get the painted headstock. I really like these. If you got a little scratch to throw around and you don't mind the fact there's no wiggle stick down here, I still like them. I just didn't love the neck. You can see them in different colors. There's the blue lagoon, and then there's the transparent gray flat. So, yeah, you get like I said, the quantum pickups were fine. So you get a nicer looking guitar. That's cool, though. Okay, let's get into this one. This is the RG8. This is an 8-string guitar. Now, I know Jackson had a similar feature. I don't think it was quite this high, but this comes in at $449. This has the kind of covers on the ceramic pickups. I believe these are. This is a Wizard 2 neck. I don't know if you can really tell by looking at that. Just a big, wide 7-string neck. Wizard 2, it has the IBZ8 pickups. So 8 for the 8-string. So when you see that, okay. So it's got an F108 bridge. Again, 8-string, it's a fixed bridge. 1 volume, 1 tone, and it comes in white. Not a first guitar, but a really cool feature under $500. So again, another feature, and there you go. This RG, the RG421s. Here's another one. This is an ash body, which is a really cool feature. But again, you're paying another $100 more. You get the binding, you get get the cool like 2-tone back and side. Really cool looking veneer, But I don't know if it's worth paying the extra $100 for that. But if you do, there it is. And there's a lot of reviews that tell me I'm full of it. So let's talk about this one. This is the Ibanez RG7421. This is essentially an RG421 model in a 7-string. This comes in walnut flat, and it also comes in this pearl black fade metallic. $449 for the 7-string. You get the quantum pickups, so that's probably one of the bigger features that you're seeing for the upgraded model. You get the wizard neck, the Wizard 2 slim, Meranti body, so it's going to be a little lighter. Again, we're getting close to the 500 range. So you get dots, not shark fins. interestingly enough, at $449. So there you go. Another 7-string in the collection there. All right, so we're getting a little further. We got another level of semi-hollows and hollow bodies to go through. This is the Ibanez Artcore AS73 semi-hollow electric guitar. Again, for those folks looking for that sort of ES335 playing guitar, semi-hollow, nice binding, got the classic finish, and we now have the 2-volume, 2-tone setup here. As I was showing you on my semi-hollow, I really like the grippy knobs here. The little tops with the little extra rubber on there. You see the quick change bridge. You see the covered humbuckers, so that must mean one thing only. That is the classic elite humbuckers that we're seeing there. So I would say that's the big difference here on this version. You're getting a gloss finish, you're getting nicer pickups, you're getting some nicer inlays, getting some block inlays, but overall, same woods. And again, you're getting the different layout too, I should state. As you can see here with the Prussian blue, just a really nice looking guitar. $449. I got to play one of these, really liked it. Again, I've got the AS113. I just liked it a little better. The 113, I get nicer pickups, and I think I get a maple body. I think I get a spruce top, so I get some nicer wood in there as well. But this AS73, you could do a lot worse. This is a really nice guitar, cool colors. Gets you all your semi-hollow action on that one. Highly recommended for me if you're looking to get started on the semi-hollow range. This is one I did not get to play. This is the AF75 hollow body. Again, $449 price range. Very similar options to the semi-hollow. You got the classic elite humbuckers. We've got a gloss finish over the satin finish. We get a nicer tailpiece down here, and you also get the 2-volume, 2-tone layout. So you're getting a nicer upgrade, nicer finish, nicer woods. I really like the colors on these. Looks really cool. Definitely looks like it punches above its price. And you get that. I don't know, the transparent red, not really my thing. But again, really cool. Really cool option. Okay, if you're an Ibanez player, I'm sure what we're looking at here is no stranger to you. This is the Ibanez Steve Vai signature. This is the Gem Jr. So the Gem Jr. is going to feature the Ibanez the Ibanez locking bridge. So the Ibanez branded Floyd. It's going to have a humbucker, single humbucker. So these are going to be the quantum pickups. So you get, apparently the nicer of the ceramic pickups in this configuration. You get his classic style. You get the classic floral inlay here. And it's a signature model, so you're paying a little bit more for it. It's $499. There's really nothing else I can tell you about it. It's got a wizard neck. So, there's other models that have kind of featured the same specs, but, it's not the Steve Vai guitar. You get a Marante body, which is nice. Again, lightweight. Wizard neck, locking nut, comes in white. It comes in black and white. It also comes, so there's the black one. So they also make this version in pink, and the pink comes with infinity humbuckers, but not the infinity R humbuckers. So this is really strange. So the bridge on this one is an Alnico bridge, but the neck is ceramic and the middle is ceramic. So it gives you one Alnico pickup. The Alnico 5 bridge humbucker. The neck is ceramic. The bridge is an Alnico V. The single coil, I'm going to guess, is also ceramic. But that's a really interesting, same price. But it's pink and you get one Alnico pickup. So that's weird. And it's also back ordered. That might be the end of them. Okay, let's take a look at this one. This is an RGRT421 weathered black. Now this one, if you're just kind of looking offhandedly, you're kind of like, well, gosh, it's $500. It's a satin finish. It's a hardtail. It's got 2 humbuckers, and the 2 humbuckers are quantum humbuckers. Okay, it's got a reverse headstock. Okay, that's kind of cool. $500? What's going on? And then you realize, oh yeah, this is a neck-through guitar for $500. Now, I checked the Ibanez website. They still show this as a current guitar, but Sweetwater is showing back order on this. Really cool feature. Again, you get it in black. You don't get a ton of color options here, but if you're looking for an affordable neck-through guitar, you get it for $500. You don't get inlays. You do get a reverse headstock. It's a kind of weird. Like, why not go for the shark inlays? Why not? Maybe that's just an extra $50 and they wanted to keep it under $500. So that's an interesting model. Again, Ibanez still shows it as a current model, but I don't know. The reviews on this are awesome. They'll look at that 18 reviews and they're almost all 5 stars. So what do I know, right? Okay, so let's take a look at this one. So again, like as we talk about, this is the 7-string equivalent to the RGA42. This is the RGA742, much like what I showed you, quantum pickups, the offset or the side dot inlays. You get a cool flame maple top, Jitoba fretboard, Meranti body, and Wizard 2 neck. You get the cool binding, very thin guitar, very light guitar. You get the Quantum 7 humbucker, 7 for 7 string, 5-way switching, which I don't know if I've talked enough about. The 5-way switching on 2 humbuckers, it comes on guitars as cheap as $200. That's a really cool feature, to be able to get some better tonal options than you would with a standard 3-way switch. So I think that is a really cool feature that I probably haven't talked about much. By the way, an iconic rock guitar, but with playability that's perfect for blues and jazz. No one's playing jazz on this guitar. Nobody's playing jazz on this guitar. So dumb. Okay, the next one I'm kind of excited about here. This is the RG470DX electric guitar. I love the color. I think that's probably what I'm most excited about. It comes in a humbucker, single humbucker, and look, it's got a Floyd, it's got your binding, your shark teeth. It is $500, and you're thinking, $500? What's going on here? Check this out. You get now it's not the Ibanez Edge Pro. You do get the Ibanez Edge Pro 2. So this isn't as good as the Edge Pro. Apparently there's an intonation tool that this thing lacks that makes this a little harder to dial in, but definitely an upgrade based on what I'm just looking at from the Ibanez branded Floyd to this now Edge, what do they call it? I'm sorry, Edge Pro. Edge 02. Come on, Chris. What's going on? 1 volume, 1 tone, really cool paint job. It's an RG series guitar for under $500. You can see the scarf joint, but hey, that's all right. I'm in. The pickups on this thing, you're looking at the Quantum, so ceramic humbuckers on this one. Well, in the single coil. Before I run my mouth, maybe there's some sort of Alnico that I didn't know. They come in this color, and it also comes in this seafoam metallic, which I like this as well. Really cool. Again, $500. It's a new item, so there's really not much you could say about those. I don't think I've ever played the Edge 02 or the Edge 0, so I can't comment on the tremolo. Obviously, it's an upgrade for them. Let's keep moving along. This is getting into the more signature models. This is the Kiko Loureiro, the dude from Megadeth. He's no longer in Megadeth, so I wonder how long this guitar is going to stick around. So this is his signature. This is the KIKO-SP3 Trans Emerald Burst. This comes with a double locking tremolo. So keep in mind, this is not going to be the Edge 02, which is the nicer. So I'm going to look at this as like the double locking tremolos at the bottom, the Edge 02, and then the Edge 0 from Ibanez being its peak as far as what it's going to offer, I imagine, before it gets into Floyd Rose or any sort of really high-end tremolo systems. So the big feature on this one is it has a push-pull system. So the pickups can go from series to parallel. So instead of having 5 options, now you've got 10 options. Again, that's cool. The pickups, however, are Infinity R pickups. So it's pickups that you're seeing on the most inexpensive guitar are slapped into this. So ceramic, pretty high output, which are going to be cool. But again, a cool top, 24 frets. I wonder if he signs all of them like that, but that one's signed by Kiko. Somewhere on here it said Godot tuners. I don't think they are Godot tuners. You see it down here. See, here's the switching options. Here's all the things that no one's ever going to play. I say that. I'm trying to find if I'm wrong about the pickups. They're all ceramic. Sometimes they'll tell you if they put an Alnico in here. Dystopia style metal theatrics to chugging low fret riffs, a breeze to play. So goofy. Yeah. Quill split, double locking tremolo. I mean, it's cool. How long it's going to be out there, I don't know, with his situation in Megadeth being over. I never played one of these, but again, I've played the Infinity humbuckers. They're fine. It's a thin body, poplar body, so it's going to be super lightweight again. Super lightweight guitars. Okay, so this is another one. This is the RG450DXB. It's another one that's a little confusing for me. It's an HSH configuration. It's essentially a gem if you don't want a gem, from what I can tell here. It does have... Interestingly enough, we just looked at the 470DX, which has the Edge 02. This just has the regular locking tremolo, and yet this has, I guess it's a lower number. So I'm not sure what's going on or if this is even going to remain. According to Ibanez, this is still available. They just don't have any stock here. But with this one, you do get, again, you get quantum humbuckers, whatever their higher end humbuckers as they would call it. And it comes in white. It's a wizard neck, again, super flat. You get the 16-inch fretboard or the 15 3/4. But you can kind of tell we're kind of coming near the end of this, and some of these features just sort of repeat themselves. One other thing I'll just touch on briefly, they do have the Artcore, the AS73G. These are flat finish guitars that are going to have some sort of like gold trim to them. I hate to say they're trying to compete against D'Angelico, but that's what it looks like to me, because a lot of D'Angelicos have this sort of tortoiseshell pick guard, gold trim, flat finish sort of look. Cool guitars. Again, it's just the AS73. It's the same features that we talked about when we're talking at a $449 guitar. For some reason, the flat finish gets more money. One more guitar before I wrap this up. This is the Ibanez Artcore AG75G hollow body. What I really like about this one, if you can't tell, it's a smaller body than the traditional hollow bodies. If you don't want to go full on George Benson, this is a great option. I got to play this one at a Guitar Center, and I'm not a big hollow body guy. Not really a big jazz cat, but if I was, this would be a really cool option. This has the classic Elite humbuckers, very similar to the AF73, 2-volume, 2-tone, essentially just a smaller body. You get a burst as well. I really like this. But this is it. To be fair to Ibanez, a great, like 2 or 3 different options for hollow bodies and semi-hollows under $500. That's got to be commended. Definitely. Walnut fretboard, again, 22 frets. 22 frets on a hollow body, where they've traditionally been 20 because the smaller body. Maybe they gave us a couple extra frets. They felt good. By the way, $300 for a pluck job. Holy smokes. Man, take it to a luthier and get a fret level, polish and crown or whatever. There's no one's charging you $300 for that. That's crazy. I'd like to thank you all for checking this out. My overall thoughts on the Ibanez line, I really like what they're putting out. They are at least giving you some options. Even if I don't find a ton of difference in the pickups, at least they're giving you the idea of their selection there. Like I said, I do like the classic Elite humbuckers. I really found a couple of items on there that I thought would be a great choice for a beginner. But there's just so many models. There's so many choices. Let me know if you have any questions about that. Maybe I should put together some sort of little chart showing what features fit into what. But if you have any questions, let me know down below in the comments. If you are interested, if you're in the Oklahoma area, Sapulpa, Oklahoma specifically, and looking for guitar lessons, www.sapulpaguitaracademy.com. We're on the Instagram and Facebook and all that sort of stuff. So we're going to keep on with this series. Let me know down in the comments if you'd like to see another brand. Someone mentioned PRS SE, a little higher price for an import line for us, but we can definitely go into that because I do see some PRS SE and PRS core models in here as well. But I think the SE line would be of more interest to you. I've also gotten some comments, people asking me to go through the Harley Benton line, which that might be that could be an all-nighter live stream right there. We could just be going through those guitars till the sun comes up. There is a lot of selection there, and I don't necessarily know that the Harley Benton line, if you're here in the United States, I don't think that the Harley Benton line is really the value that it is for people over in Europe. And there's so many other options too that are domestic with a better return policy to go with. But anyway, we're just spitballing here. I've got some other videos lined up, and we'll keep going here. The students really seem to enjoy these, especially folks who are new to taking lessons with me and they're looking for advice on guitar. They could watch me ramble on for who knows how long. So until next time, folks, I really appreciate you watching, and we'll see you again next time. Okay? Awesome.